Welcome back, 7th grade Richmond Scholars. I am Ms. Whitaker, and I'm excited to have you join me for another math lesson. This is week 6, day 5, and today is the last day that we'll be working on SOL 7.10. So let's get started. Let's review the you try question from the previous lesson, which was a math task. First, check your answers. If you answer any of the questions incorrectly, take some time to identify what you did differently. Then you're going to correct your answers before moving on. So the math task was titled Savings Plan. Rayshawn and Jose are all saving money for a school trip. Each boy is keeping track of their savings in a different way. Okay? So you were supposed to use the data below and give a detailed explanation of how they are saving their money. Okay? Using multiple representations. So you have Rayshawn's savings plan, and that was presented to you in a graph. Okay? So we need to identify the relationship in the graph, or represented by the graph. So to do that, I labeled the points, and the points were already on the graph given to you. So the first point is 0, 0. The second point, 1, 5. Third point, 2, 10. Fourth point is 3, 15. And the fifth point is 4, 20. Okay? Because the Y values are going up by 5s. That's 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. But the X values, which represents the days, are only going up by 1. So they are not in the same increments on the Y and X axis. So be aware of that. All right. So from here, we can determine the slope by finding the vertical change over the horizontal change, which is the same as saying find the change in Y over the change in X, or rise over run. Okay? So to do this, we are going to start the origin. Start at the origin, and then we're going to move up five units, okay? Because we want to go from the origin to the 0.15, or the first point, okay? So therefore, you have to go up vertically 5 units, and you will have to go to the right horizontally 1 unit, okay? Again, to get to the next point, we will have to go up 5 units, because this is 5, that's 10. So we actually went up 5 units, even though it looks the same distance as the numbers on the x-axis, actually, but in actuality it's not, okay? And then you will have to go right horizontally, or 1 to the right. And you can keep doing this for all of the points on the graph, okay? But this represents your change in Y, which is 5. So again, change in Y. The change in Y is equal to 5. And your change in X is equal to 1. Because we went 1 to the right. Okay? Change in Y is positive 5. We went up 5. And change in X is a positive 1, because we went 1 to the right. Okay? Which is equal to 5. 5, 5 over 1, or 5 divided by 1 is equal to 5. And that represents your slope. Okay? From there, I can describe his savings plan. I know that slope represents my constant rate of change. So every day, my savings is changing by $5, or a rate of $5 per day. Okay, so his savings plan is to save $5 per day, or to save $5 each day, or save $5 every day. So if you used a different word to describe your rate of change, that is fine. Okay, as long as it's a slope keyword like per, each, every, a word that represents a constant rate of change, then your answer is correct. Okay, from there, the equation we will use is y is equal to mx, because that's the equation we use when you have a proportional relationship, and this relationship is proportional because it is a line that is straight and goes through the origin. Okay, so we're going to use y is equal to mx, where m is equal to the slope. So to write the equation, all you do is substitute m for the slope you found, which is 5. So the equation is y is equal to 5x. So you will substitute x for any number of days that he is saving money and figure out how much money he has saved in total. Okay. And for my justification, I just wrote out my thinking process and complete sentences. From the graph, I determined the slope as 5 using changing y over changing x, which is equal to 5 over 1, because I went 5 up, 1 right. Therefore, his savings is changing at a constant rate of $5 per day. Okay. Now, let's look at Jose's savings. His savings was represented using a table. Okay. So to find the relationship between the x and y values, you should have noticed that you can add 5 each time to the x values to get the corresponding y values. 0 plus 5 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 6, 2 plus 5 is 7, and so on. Okay, so each time we're going to add 5 to get our corresponding y values. Therefore, you know your relationship is additive. Okay, so what is your starting point, which will represent your y-intercept? Remember, the y-intercept is the y value when x is equal to 0. Therefore, the first set of x and y values represents your y-intercept. 5 is your y-intercept. Okay? When x is 0, y is 5. Therefore, 5 is your y-intercept. Okay? And we know that our y-intercept represents our starting point. So I described Jose's savings plan as he's going to start out with $5. So start out with $5 and save an additional $1 per day. Okay? Each day, the savings are only increasing by $1. Okay? And you can confirm this by finding the slope if you wanted to. So the change between 0 and 1 is 1. 1 and 2 is 1. 2 and 3 plus 1. 3 and 4 plus 1. So each time you're adding 1. Okay? Okay, that's the change in x. Okay, so our change in y, each time to go from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, again, you're only adding 1 each time, which means your slope is equal to 1. Okay? Therefore, you're starting out, or Jose, his savings plan would be to start out with $5 and save an additional dollar. That is our constant rate of change. It's only changing $1. So save an additional dollar per day. The equation we're going to use is y is equal to x plus b, where b represents the y-intercept, or our starting point. So again, you just substitute b with the y-intercept. And our y-intercept is equal to 5. Okay? Therefore, you substitute b with 5, and the equation is y is equal to x plus 5. Okay? So you will substitute the number of days that Jose is saving for the field trip and add that number to 5 to figure out how much Jose has saved in total. So for the justification, again, I just wrote out my thinking process in complete sentences. The relationship between the x and y values is plus 5, which represents the y-intercept, or his starting point. Then I realized that he is saving $1 per day as well. Okay? And that is all for the math task. As long as for your justification, as long as you wrote out your explanation using clear sentences, you should be fine. But for the savings plan, that basically represents a verbal description. For Rayshawn's plan, you should have used a word that represents a constant rate of change. Here, you have to describe Jose starting with $5, or him already having $5 in the bank, and then adding $1 every day. So you don't have to have it worded the exact same, but it needs to be similar to this explanation. And then your equations must be correct. So today is Fun Friday, and we will watch a vocabulary video and make connections between and among representations of a proportional relationship between two quantities using verbal descriptions, tables, equations, and graphs. Okay, so materials needed for today's lesson: you need pencil, paper, and a calculator. Okay. Make sure to write all of your notes, guided practice, and you try problems down in your notebook. Actually, you're going to be in vocabulary today, so you still can write your notes down in your notebook, but you won't have any you try problems. You will have activities and vocabulary. So the instructions to getting to the correct video in vocabulary, you're going to log into Clever. Go to the vocabulary icon. Once you are in vocabulary, you're going to go to math, then to ratios and proportional relationships. And then you're going to watch the proportional relationships video and complete the vocab game and quiz. So when you get into vocabulary, go to math, then go to ratios and proportional relationships, and you should see this video. Okay, you're going to watch this video as many times as you need. And once you're finished watching the video, you're going to complete the vocab game and the quiz. Okay? Once you have completed your vocabulary assignments, log into Dreambox and complete 2 Dreambox lessons. Okay, as I said earlier, this will be the last week or the last day that we will be working on SOL 7.10. So next week you will have another teacher. It has been my honor to be able to teach you guys for the last 3 weeks. See you guys, stay safe, and enjoy your weekend.